Anyway, I want to talk about this because this is a person on TikTok who I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that they're a terrible person, but they're the person that has like the Lorax pronoun videos. Have you ever seen those before?
No, I have not.
They use a lot of, like, this is a video apparently about using the pronouns funny/funnies.
Oh, this is how you would use these pronouns videos?
Funny's pronouns.
Yeah, and I just think this is absurd. I'm 100% trans affirming. I don't think that I don't think that this creates a productive conversation about gender being a spectrum, because funny isn't a gender. And like, there's a conversation to be had about how gender is a spectrum and how people should be able to express themselves. And I just feel like this is distracting and it doesn't do anything productive. That's just but whatever. I don't think that she's a bad person. I'm not a particular fan of it. I mean, I understand if we want to have new pronouns, that makes sense to me. Like, hey, you know, we have a spectrum of male to female or boy to girl, and then there's stuff in between. And my pronoun represents me being 90% a girl or something, and this is just in my terms, and 10% a guy, and this is, I'm fine with that. It makes sense. Logical. Hey, there's a philosophical gender spectrum. I'm down with that. But funny, Lorax pronouns, gem pronouns, among us balls pronouns. That's ridiculous. Thank you so much, Barbecue Menchie, for the $2. Thanks for all the great content today. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. So anyway, because of that, I had a little bit of stank to this. I was like, I don't really care. I saw that she talked about, or they, excuse me. I really don't even want to get this wrong. I'm like, I unironically don't want to get this wrong. Okay, we're going to try to use them. I don't get the non-binary lesbian thing, though. That doesn't, whatever. I don't care. That's not important. This individual, this person, apparently they claim that they got bullied and in some capacity had a bad experience at a bar. I think it was a gay bar. And I initially heard about it and I was like, I don't care. I don't like this person. And then I saw a video on TikTok that's like, hey, I have never watched the actual video. I've only seen the responses to it. Did I say she again? Sorry. Thank you. I'm trying. I really am trying.
I know. That's why I'm correcting.
Thank you. Somebody watched this individual's video. Just to take your time, okay? But the effort is worth it, guys, so be respectful. Somebody, I think an actual girl, like, well, okay, I'm being stupid now.
Another
person watched this individual's video. They video for the first time, and they said, I've only been watching other people covering this person's video, and it's all been people making fun of them. And then I actually watched it, and I was like, wow, this is kind of fucked up. So it made me want to watch it. That's what I'm trying. That's where I'm trying to go. All right, let's do it.
I was harassed and was kicked out of a gay bar, which should have been
They would love me at a gay bar, by the way. I'm what they call a bear. Like a little bit of hair here, you know what I mean? I got a good hairy chest.
Put it away.
Ooh, the boys love me. And old women.
Everybody loves you.
Hey, stroke the ego. We saw the meme the other day that's like when a dad goes into a restaurant and the waitress is being like kind to him because it's her job, and he's like, I still got it.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you.
I still got it.
That is you.
Let's be real, though. You play into it, too. Let's go.
a safe space, but wasn't. Not only was I kicked out, but my wife was kicked out along with me. So I made a video when I got home about how it felt to process that. Trigger warning. Okay. If you're able to watch, okay. But if you feel like this is too heavy, that is okay too. But before you go, I just want
to make a fat joke about us. I
just get through this horrible video.
Thank you for being you and protecting you, and I love you so much.
I honestly don't know what to do, but like...
Trigger warning, I'm crying.
There was like a really bad experience. Basically, I was just getting a drink at the bar and they called both Azul and I ladies. After they were done making the drink, I went up and I was like...
I just want to be very clear. I'm a dude and I've never been misgendered before. I don't care. My thing is that I can understand though, if you look at somebody who's expressing femininely, why you would assume that they're a woman. So, and I guess I don't understand how like a stranger would bother you. Because I understand that if it's somebody in your family and you're like, hey, I'm non-binary, I identify as they, them, please respect that. And them not respecting that, I get that. That's personal. But once there's a dickhead on the street doing anything disrespectful, I'll care, but I don't care. Like, you don't mean anything to me, you know? So I just wanted to express that, just on a fundamental level.
Like, some people don't refer to themselves as ladies, but it's okay that you didn't know. And in a gay bar, so we should feel safe. Too bad turned it around. They got so mad at me, and they took the drink away from my wife and I.
Isn't a wife a girl pronoun? I'm trying to understand.
I don't fucking know. That's something too that like as a supporter of the LGBT community, like if you like this is a genuine question.
I would say
if
partner.
you identify as non-binary, how do you identify as a lesbian, which is like women who love women?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
No, because it doesn't make sense only because somebody might say, well, because they're talking about biological women maybe, but then trans men are men, but but they technically that would make a lesbian somebody that could be attracted to a biological a woman, but a trans men are men. So then it's like, how do you parse through all this? To me, it doesn't make sense.
I know that you could be a non-binary person and a lesbian. You could be anything. But to me, I really do. One of the reasons why I try to understand definitions of things is because I try to educate the people who are against things.
Yeah, right. But
I really do have conversation like with my Grammy's friends.
Yeah, they're
who
very
think who listen to the news that tell them that Target's trying to turn your 5-year-old son into a girl. I engage in those conversations with them, but in a productive way. To get them to actually understand things. So like I do want to understand like how middle genders impact your identity with sexualities in the same way that I do the other part of that being, and this is just a tangent,
why wouldn't you be a
pansexual
non-binary? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah, or I try to understand so say somebody's in a long-term relationship, say we're lesbians, right? Yeah. And we're in a long-term relationship and you're like, you know what, I'm trans, I identify as a man.
Which one of us is the butch?
You, because
I'm the daddy lesbian.
Well, you're transgender now.
Yeah, nice.
And you're
I'm a trans woman.
And no. You're a lesbian.
Gotcha.
Which is a woman. And then you then identify as trans, and so you're transitioning into a man.
Gotcha. Okay,
but we were lesbians. So if I continue to say that I'm a lesbian and I only like women, to me that's transphobic of me towards you.
Yeah.
Because then I'm still loving you romantically, sexually, whatever.
So then you'd be pansexual or something.
Yeah, and then so I've had a lot of conversations with people who are like, my gender doesn't impact your sexuality.
Yeah.
And for me, at least my perspective, it does, because if I was saying that I was only sexually attracted to men or only sexually attracted to women or romantically whatever, then I would be basically being transphobic with my relationship.
I understand what you're saying. I think that sometimes the labels can get confusing, and we're obviously want to know the labels. We're not talking about this in a way to be like, you're wrong. I just want to understand, because sometimes I understand trans women, I understand trans men, I even understand trans non-binary for the most part. Sometimes it gets a little confusing when you're somebody who identifies as non-binary, but then you express yourself as in a feminine way. It confuses the shit out of me. What I will say, though, one thing is that I think that this conversation about us wanting to understand, which I think comes from a good place, has it distracted a little bit from what actually happened, which is apparently they got misgendered, and then this is not a big deal, but I'm not a woman, and then they had their drinks taken away from them. And if we believe their story is genuine and they're not lying about anything, that's fucked up. Like, what a stupid reason to take your drink away because you're like, I'm non-binary. Yes. So that, I think we should try. We'll move forward with that more. Because, we're exploring.
Yes, we'll go back to the topic.
Okay, I'm sorry. I am just trying to have a productive conversation, understand this stuff, okay?
Oh. I'm waiting.
The bar, because he was like, are you serious? You're doing the same thing to me. How? And then they kicked us out. I didn't think that was gonna happen. How am I supposed to feel? This was the first time that I've told somebody I felt brave enough to tell somebody my identity. I just wanted to let him know, and I told him it's okay.
I feel the same way when I tell people that I collect lounge flies. I feel like I'm brave enough to tell you my identity is as a man who collects Disney Loungefly collectibles. I have a $5,000 Disney Loungefly. My wife has the collection, by the way. It was not mine. I would never. That's my identity. My identity? Disney adult. I'm proud of it. Who do you think faces more backlash, trans people or Disney adults?
It's a hard one, but I think most days it'll probably go to the trans individuals.
I personally think that it probably should be the other direction. Let's be real. There's a lot of these.
I think we're sorry.
A lot of Disney adults. Come on, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I love Disney, but sometimes you're crying over a guy in a costume. What are you talking about?
No.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think that we have moved off topic and we should focus again on the girl the people. See, here I am. I'm just as bad as the bartender who took their drink away and then kicked them out the bar.
Well, you're not. We're doing all right. We've been correcting each other on the pronoun stuff. We're trying so hard. That's why it's so funny to me.
No, he was still mad at me for being myself and for my wife being themselves. Just her. We were kicked out so fast.
Here's my thing, because it sounds like if I believe I think that they're probably being genuine. That sounds horrible. I just don't resonate with people crying like this on the internet. This is nothing new to trans people, but if I had anybody sitting here saying the same thing, I'd be like, okay, but why are you crying about it online? You know what I mean? I would feel that way. I'd be like, I just feel like it's not appropriate to cry about this type of stuff on the internet like this. I feel like there are probably in-person help, and this is the conversation about content creators and not understanding boundaries and how it's difficult to date content creators. I feel bad for this individual's partner because they're probably struggling with that too. Because now this person is making a video, the partner wants to be there, can console them, but the partner probably doesn't want to be on a camera, so you see them kind of pacing back and forth, waiting for that, and it's like, you know.
Tried talking to the other person. He came over and was like, what's going on? It was another straight white man. When I told him he's just not respecting our identity. And
she said straight white man instead of gay white man in a gay bar.
She's so triggered. Yeah.
That's what my thing is, like, she's so triggered, she's buzzwording the guy.
She's so triggered that this guy was so mean to her that he like can't even be gay, you know?
Yo, yeah, I came from more.
So they're like assigning.
They're like, he must have been straight, because straight is, these are all slurs. These are like, you're a straight, white, cisgendered man, you're a bad person. And it's like, I like femboys. No, I'm married happily. I think we're all a little gay. But
I told you we should take the Kinsey scale test.
Yeah, we should do that one day. But no, that's funny. It's like she was so triggered that this guy couldn't have been gay because gay people are all good. I know a lot of gay people. I know more gay people than straight. No, I don't know that many, but I know quite a few. They're not all good. Sometimes they can be annoying. Sometimes they don't stop talking to you about their candles. Shut the fuck. I'm just kidding. I don't mind the conversation. I don't know if that they never watched this and see that. That was such a joke. I was kidding.
He's killing himself over there.
As a joke, but yeah, her thing is like, oh, if you're they're like, fuck.
I know. I keep on doing it too. We are really trying hard. We're not trying to be disrespectful.
I thank you for correcting me. We're trying so hard. Let's go.
And when I told him he's just not respecting our identity and I don't understand why. And he was like, you know what, just leave. And I got kicked out of a bar. Technically supposed to be a queer bar, but it's just gay white men. Yes. Oh my god, it was supposed to be a positive experience.
I'm a little confused because like, if it's like a gay bar, doesn't usually dudes go to gay bars? And then like women go to lesbian bars? Or am I just like completely off the bar scene? I just don't understand. I don't know.
I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. I guess
I don't care to explain anything.
I felt so.
Straight women also go to gay bars, right? So they don't get hit on by men, but then the men still hit on them. Because gay men hit on. It's for fun. And then I go to a gay bar, so they hit on me, and I feel better about myself because we're talking before about how that's good for your self-esteem.
Okay, Steve.
Okay, who's fucking Steve?
You said it like Steve Brole again.
I don't care. I'm a doctor too. Azul?
Fucking furious. Fucking livid.
I know. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, imagine if I didn't accept you for just being gay. Dude, like, are you serious? And he's told me, I'm being a gentleman calling you a lady. That's not something bad. Like, I'm just...
That sounds like an old dude. It leaves questions that demand to be answered for me. Because for me, it's like, are we getting the full picture?
No! From a fucking crybaby bitch that says my pronouns or how to use flowers pronouns. No. Listen. I don't care. I don't want to be too mean. But I hate this video and I don't care about it.
Okay.
I'm trying. But it's just crazy.
I'm not talking for a minute. I just want to be very clear because I know exactly what you're saying, and I want to make sure that we communicate exactly what you're saying. You're not saying anything negative to trans people. What you're saying is that this person is valid in their identity. However, it's their sensitivity that seems to be the issue. Coming onto the internet and crying like this over this is unjustifiable, and it comes off as very performative. If you felt the need to express this, you could have just had a conversation about your experience that's like, hey, this happened and it sucked, instead of crying on the internet. You obviously wanted people to see you crying in this vulnerable state to garner sympathy, and it makes me question the authenticity of everything that was going on. For what it sounds like to me is, for basically the way that this individual is proposing it, they went to a bar, they asked for a drink, the person called them a lady, then they were like, no, I'm actually non-binary, and then the person's like, get the fuck out! Whereas it might also be possible that
no, that's not even like,
that's what
I feel like
they
said exactly what happened.
You think so?
That the bartender was like, here, ladies, and they were like, oh, actually, like, we're not ladies, we use they them pronouns. And then I guess like the taking of the drinks, I don't understand how that happened. And then the person's like, oh, well, I was just trying to be respectful calling you ladies, I wasn't trying to be some type of way, which, like,
everybody's just being sassy.
Because yes, there was probably sassiness involved. And like, yeah, people like call it, like, they probably weren't trying to be like, oh, I know you're non-binary, I'm gonna say something to upset you. Yeah. And like, yeah, if they're like, they like, I would, if somebody said that, like, oh, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm trying to whatever. Yeah. Like, yeah, probably they're bartenders handing out drinks. Like, do you think that they're invested in how you feel? No, only as much as for you to tip them.
Yeah, well, it's with anything then.
And then if they kept on going on and they were like, well, if you don't like it, then leave.
Oh, so
that's not even getting kicked out. That's just saying, like, if you're not happy, then get the fuck out of here.
Is that what they said? If you don't like it, then leave? Or did they say get out? Hold on.
That part. No,
and then this is crazy. This is wild. Hysterically crying over this, and then like recording and posting your partner comforting you. This doesn't make me feel bad for you in the way you want it to.
Yeah,
that's my problem.
Gay, dude. Like,
I'm trying to see exactly what he said to her.
I'm being a gentleman calling you a lady. That's not something bad. Like, I'm just sharing that part, and I just wanted you to be like, fucking furious.
And yeah, the right thing would have been for the bartender to just be like, okay.
Yeah, and whatever. But that's what I'm saying. It sounds like there's more to this story, potentially in some capacity, where we're not getting the full thing. Like, it sounds like there might have been like a back and forth, like, I don't know. It just, like, the crying throws everything off for me.
I'm being a gentleman, like, okay, sorry. And dad, like, yelling, okay, sorry.
What would you like?
What would you like to hear? And like, it's not like we even talk a lot. It felt like,
let me just, I feel like I skipped some.
Sharing that part, and I just wanted you to be like, okay. Hey, sorry.
What would you like?
What would you like to hear? And like, it's not like we even talk a lot. It felt like a dad,
I feel like that's not true.
Yelling at you. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Dad's yelling can be scary. I wouldn't know. I don't have a dad.
I'm gonna have some water, and I'm okay. It's just hard.
One more thing that I wanted to add is,
yeah, I feel like if you cut that middle part out and just did the intro and that, like, maybe we didn't.
I would have a different feeling if you weren't crying.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're trying to be emotionally provocative, and there's just no way, like, that. It just didn't seem like that's the response somebody would have if they got the shit beaten out of them. You know, It just seems like a disproportionate response.
That he yelled at my wife and told them that he sees.
I thought that her wife was a. I'm so fucking confused. Okay, whatever. I don't.
Ladies, and so he will always refer to us as ladies. Bye. And at the end of the day, transphobia within the community is so disgusting, and it happens all the time, even if you don't realize it. Like making fun of neopronouns. Yes, that's transphobia.
No, it's not. You've lost me completely at that point. I don't like you anymore. That's not transphobia. I'm not calling this. This person's entire page is talking about Lorax pronouns. It's not transphobia. Like, oh my god, like, just stop. This is one of the biggest problems, and it's not the complete justifier for conservatives to like dislike trans people, because they just are bigoted and hateful, and they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just anti-science when it comes to everything, whether it's trans people, the environment, COVID, it doesn't matter. But At the end of the day, what happens is you have people that are like, oh, neopronouns are real and valid. They're going on about Lorax pronouns, funny pronouns. That's not a gender. I'm fine with new gender terms. Like, you want to come up with different things that represent somewhere on the gender spectrum, 1000%. I'm on top. I'm fine with it. I have no problem respecting it. It makes sense within the understanding of a gender, not binary, right? Gender spectrum. That makes sense, But to sit here and call it transphobia when it comes to neopronouns, which to her is, which to them is Lorax pronouns, that being transphobic, because I wouldn't say that, that's stupid. And what happens is that conservatives look at that and they package all of trans people into that, and they just go completely bonkers. You're just giving them ammunition. This isn't productive. Neopronouns isn't productive. It's not transphobia. Like, that's ridiculous. This to me sounds like this individual is co-opting struggles of people that have diagnosed gender dysphoria, that have significant amounts of distress associated with their gender identity not matching their assigned sex at birth, and they're just trying to live and have access to healthcare and not get hated on. And then this person comes into the space in what I can only interpret as a position of privilege and go, you need to respect people who want to be called flower. And it's like, do you think that you're helpful for the LGBTQ community, or do you think that this comes off as like a virtue signal? Because I don't know. If I was a trans person that was really struggling with my identity, and I was just hoping that my dad wouldn't berate me for the virtue of my existence, I would look at this person and go, "What? Fuck you." That's how I would feel about that. That would frustrate me.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you really think do you really think it's transphobia?
Making fun of they, them pronouns, that is transphobia. Refusing to use a pronoun that feels the most comfortable to a person because of something that they can't help. Going out of your way to make sure not to use that person's pronouns is so transphobic. If we don't unpack our internalized transphobia or homophobia.
What?
That didn't happen, though.
What do you mean?
Maybe where they just, was not listening. So were they just talking about what transphobia is in general, or to that thing that they experienced?
Well, I don't know. You don't think that they were told that they weren't they, them at the bar?
They just said something about like going out of your way not to use somebody's pronouns.
Oh, yeah, that's not what happened. Well, actually, now that you say it, though, did that person... Like, the way that they talked about the interaction, it sounded like they had this interaction with this guy at a club or a bar or whatever, and they're getting the drinks, and then he called them ladies, and they got offended and said, we're not that. And then they were like, all right, they had like an interaction back and forth.
Yeah. And like I said, the person, like, it would have been better if the bartender in the situation they described would have been like, okay, and like moved on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's just get through this.
Yeah, how can we expect the rest of the world to? Let's not forget about the silencing of people of color within the community, and that these are things that people like me should be working on and through, or else things truly don't get better. This is our...
I'm not trying to be that person, but this person seems like the kind of person...
exhausting.
They're exhausting, and like people of color they've never talked to like a black person in their entire life. Not to be that guy, but it's like, this is a white person that's never interacted with a non-white people talking about, oh, we need to make sure we include people. We do, absolutely. But I just feel like you would be afraid. You're the person that crosses the street when you see somebody because you're like uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. That's how I get a lot of people. I just feel like a lot of people virtue signal about this shit. A lot of this comes off as disingenuous when you have a whole fucking video crying that didn't need to exist. You could have cried and not recorded it and published it or put it on the internet. You could have just cried regularly and just like went through yourself and then had the conversation, and it would have been much better. But I just feel like I don't think you give a shit about any BIPOC individuals in any meaningful way that would lead to a constructive conversation. You're just kind of like, ooh, BIPOC people. It's like trigger word, like as many words as you can. The same way where you're like, that guy can't be gay because he was mean to me, is like now you're bringing up BIPOC people to try to co-opt their unique struggles onto yourself so that you can like, look at me, I'm a good person. Like, I don't know.
Community. It was never made for just a few. And in this situation, I know I was lucky enough to be a white person. And because of this, I will never stop letting people know my truth. Nor will I ever stop introducing it in the most polite way that I can. And if that's not good enough for them, then their business, their friendship, their relationship, it's not good enough for me. Bye. Even if they have great food, great drinks, whatever, doesn't matter. They're not willing to learn. They're not willing to accept the damage that they've done. And in a lot of these queer spaces, it seems like the people that take up the most room are gay white men. And I think we need to do something about that.
one of the problems that I have with this is that part is true, and like everything else is not necessarily true. And it's just like you sprinkle, like, yeah, of course the space is dominated by gay white men. You see that all over TV because unfortunately in a white centric society, white people are going to have to be the first ones that get represented. It's unfortunate because the reality is if you want to educate an entire population of ignorant white pieces of shit, you have to start like, oh, let's just start with just gay, and then we can do gay woman, and then we could do gay, and it's just kind of like, and it's unfortunate. And like, absolutely, you see more like gay male white actors, and it's starting to change more and more, and that's how the representation is, and it's not necessarily wrong, but that like one factoid at the end of it, I don't think it's a nice pretty bow of truth onto like an otherwise fucking dog shit video, crying and then weaponizing other people's struggles just as like a shield.
I don't think it was that nice bow at all.
No?
I think that like because their like energy behind it just made it seem like I hate white people.
Oh, you think that that's what it was? It was them trying to express that they
like,
just hate.
Yeah, like again, like the white man is the problem.
Yeah,
that's all I heard from what they were saying.
Interesting. I find it's very interesting to me that's usually, and that's interesting that you interpret it like that, because if that is true, there is a huge problem on the internet of white people being the most obnoxious when it comes to any issue on the internet, when it comes to like issues of race, in a way that is so destructive and performative. Like it's white people screaming, fuck white people. It's white people screaming, you can't be racist to white people. It's white people that are desperately trying to distance themselves from, like, understandably, the historic negatives that white people have brought in different capacities, of course, but in the way that's like, I'm not them, fuck them, point and laugh, point and attack, that kind of a person. Whereas, like, I feel like, for the most part, when I've seen black people engage with this shit, they don't have this much, like, hatred and vitriol going on. They're just like, hey, we have fucking issues and we'd like to have them handled. But they're not focused on like, oh, you can't be racist away. It's just because, is that a productive conversation to have? Is like, you can't be racist away. Is that productive, or is the conversation like, oh, what can we do to empower this community? Not like, hey, what can we do to break down this community? Instead, like, how do we empower black people? I don't know. It's a whole fucking virtue signal.
Just to end this segment, because I'm over it, even though it looks like there's time left.
Yeah.
Do you care about finishing the 10 seconds?
And it's okay to learn new things every day. In fact, it's encouraged to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. Who knew?
Cool. All right. So I want to end the segment by saying that the people from the bar probably reacted like all that trend on TikTok right now, where people are like, I'm not going to be a customer here anymore. And then the people behind the register are like, like,
oh, yeah. Oh, you think they mocked him a little bit? Yeah, I don't know what happened in this situation. We only getting this person's side of the story, but I don't respond well to performative acts of tears. I think that there's ways that you can cry genuinely on the internet, but it's almost only if you're on a stream and you just happen to cry. You know what I mean? Like I personally wouldn't want to cry and then make a video about me crying. I think that's pathetic. Have your moments of crying and tears, have those moments, and then process the way you need to, and then go to the internet and express yourself. Hey, this happened, and this is what happened here. I respect that. I don't respect people who do performative crying, because you shouldn't be trying to cry publicly. If you do, that's okay. But to go out of your way to do it is, to me, you're desperate to garner attention. That's what I perceive that as. At that point, it's very difficult for me to take what they're saying as genuine or true when they're trying to invoke an emotional response from me intentionally. And I feel like the way that this probably happened, and I don't really know, is they went to a bar, they ordered some drinks. Somebody says, here you go, ladies. That was like older. They started, getting upset about it. Like, oh, no, we're actually not buyer, blah, blah, blah. And then the bartender, I don't know, was being annoying. And then they were being annoying back, and they just started an interaction. And they're like, fine. They took the drinks, and they still kept complaining. And so they're like, get out of the bar. And it's still wrong of the bartender, but I doubt that it went down the way that they were saying it went down. Whatever. I feel like this interaction probably was not even close to as triggering as any normal person is dealing with. Yet they had this meltdown about it. So, yeah.
Their bio says the pronoun gal.
What?
Their bio says the pronoun gal.
Bro, I'm not trying to be that guy. How is your bio gonna say the pronoun gal, and then you're gonna get upset when somebody calls you a lady?
Here you go, gals.
Actually, I'm not a gal. It says it on your bio. Wow. Ow.
Well, that's the bio,
But that's
not
what
the
I'm talking
person.
about. I don't think that this person has any fleshed out idea about anything that they're experiencing.
No, I don't think continuing to talk about them is going to be productive.
It's not, but to be honest with you, this seems like the kind of person that's only dating somebody in the LGBTQ community as a shield.
To be LGBT.
And they don't even care about their partner. I'm not trying to be rude. I know that's a drastic reach, but this is just the energy I get. I want to be part. It's like I want to be part of this community. It's like some fucking white activist desperately trying to date a black person just so that they could say that they're doing it. And like include themselves in the community and go, well, I have a black boyfriend, I have a black girl. I just feel like that's what they're looking for. Like they're just I don't know. I want to advocate for the LGBTQ community. Let's talk about fucking neopronouns. I don't know. Let's talk about the lack of access to healthcare that fucking like trans people are getting. Let's talk about something fucking productive for once. They're shock performing for attention. They're getting validation for doing dumb shit, talking about neopronouns, which even if you think are valid, are not even close to the next step on what actually needs to be progress for trans people. And like, but they feel like this is productive. This is helpful. It's not helping anybody. People are pointing and laughing. You're giving the conservatives an excuse to be toxic to trans people, and it's the conservatives' fault primarily. But you know what you're doing. You're not being productive. You're not being helpful. You're not helping anybody. You're having a negative impact on people. That's all it comes down to. And then all you're doing is educating a bunch of dumb, probably non-trans people to sit here and look at your content and go like, oh, look, I'm an activist. I follow lesbian Snow White who identifies as a gal but gets upset when somebody calls him a lady. Like, oh, makes perfect fucking sense to me. Like, I'm totally, oh shit. Like, I'm fucking shitting and coming. So. Cool segment. I think we're done with that one.